mentioned earlier when we were talking before we started the interview about President Isaias and his reaction to the African Union and when he went and
Well, I think when it first got independence and the African Union was making a big fuss over this newly entered this state in Africa. And he went to their meeting. I think it's now what do they call it? It was the Organization of African Union. Now I think it's the African Union.
Yeah.
But he went there and red carpet and everything, and instead of sort of being the newcomer, little guy listening to all these elder statesmen, in his speech he lit into them and said, you know, they've got to change, that they cannot keep blaming corruption on the foreigners or Israel or places, that they shouldn't be driving Mercedes-Benzes, they shouldn't be living high on the hog, they shouldn't be going on shopping trips to Paris, they shouldn't be corrupt. Every one of them is running a corrupt regime, and as far as he was concerned, Eritrea was not going to go this route. Their ministers were going to be working, you know, for the people, or going to be restrained in this thing, and foreign aid was a corrupting influence. Absolutely correct. But nobody dares say that to Africa.
Right.
They all want to get in good with them, or the foreign, and the Americans, British, Canadians, they're all being nicely to them for God knows what reason. Why this is a different area, but why we should be tolerating a country like Zimbabwe, which is defies every value that we subscribe to. It bewilders me. We finally have a government in Canada that is now selecting countries.
Right.
I think it was odd because I think some countries would have been lining up to give aid to Eritrea on condition that they control how this aid is spent or something, which again can be corrupting also.
Right.
And I think one of the interesting things that right after independence, I think they had foreign aid was building or repairing the road to the coast, and the World Monetary Fund or whatever it was sized up how much they were giving and how it was going to go, and they had X million to do this thing, with a certain amount off to pay bribes and to go into people's pockets. And Eritrea became the first country ever to give a refund. They didn't have the corruption didn't exist for that thing, which is so unusual. And to me, that would have been a really good international story.
Right. Why do you think that Eritrea's successes, or the positive aspects of everything that you've spoken about, hasn't been reflected in the media, especially international media?
I think people don't go there, or they haven't been there, and if there's not some reason to go there, I guess, and these days they want to save money, and the trouble is it's too easy with the, for instance, right now, Eritrea has very stern censorship laws. Censorship laws don't really bother me.
Right.
I mean, if you go into a country and you can't write things from in there, you can always write them when you get out. But you shouldn't necessarily confuse censorship with repression of people. It does. I mean, Canada, for instance, has a right to know, transparency, but the right to know can be blocked. It's the right to know what they want you to know.
Right. Right.
And we'll always have a fuss. The government is holding something back.
Right.
I think that's the nature of governments. I don't know what's happening in Eritrea with regards to, if people are being taken off the streets or put into. You could, if you go to Asmara or one of the cities, you quickly get a feel
Yeah.
if this is a repressive state. Anytime I was there in 88 or 98, it wasn't. It was a place that was filled with I think, justifiable pride of achievement. And I mean, nothing can take it away from Eritrea what they did to win this war and this battle, which they should never have been able to win and did.